I always thought betrayal was something that happened to other people, something you read about online, shake your head at, and move on. But when it landed at my doorstep, it hit harder than I could have ever imagined. My fiancée, Emily, and I had been planning our wedding for over a year. We had the venue booked, invitations sent, and my entire family was buzzing with excitement. She was beautiful, driven, and when she smiled at me, I felt like the luckiest man alive. At least, that's what I believed. My brother, Daniel, had always been the charming one. Where I was steady and responsible, he was reckless, quick with a joke, the life of every room he entered. He had a history of cutting corners in life, of chasing thrills without caring about the consequences. But he was my brother, and no matter how many times he let me down, I never imagined he would stab me in the back like this. It started with subtle changes in Emily. She became more distant, distracted. When I'd ask about her day, she'd give vague answers, her eyes darting away from mine. She began canceling plans, saying she wasn't feeling well, and yet her phone lit up with messages late at night. I told myself it was just wedding stress, that maybe she was overwhelmed. I didn't want to doubt her. I didn't want to be that man who second-guessed his future wife. But doubt has a way of eating at you. And soon, the cracks became impossible to ignore. The moment everything shattered came on an ordinary evening. Emily sat across from me at dinner, pale, fidgeting with her fork. Finally, she blurted out the words that knocked the air out of me. "I'm pregnant." For a heartbeat, my chest swelled with joy, until I saw the guilt in her eyes. "It's not yours," she whispered. The silence that followed felt like a lifetime. My mind scrambled, refusing to accept what I'd just heard. And then came the final blow. "It's Daniel's." My world collapsed in that instant. The woman I was supposed to marry, the life I was building, destroyed by the two people I trusted most. My brother had not only betrayed me, he had taken something that could never be undone. I sat there frozen, my pulse roaring in my ears, while Emily's confession replayed like a broken record. My fiancé, my own brother, and a child that tied them together in a way that shattered everything I believed about loyalty and love. I didn't lash out. I didn't scream. Instead, I asked one question, my voice calm but sharp. "How long?" Her tears spilled as she admitted it had been going on for months. Late nights when I thought she was studying for her courses, weekends when she claimed she was visiting her mother. All that time, she had been sneaking around with Daniel. My jaw clenched as I realized how many times he had smiled at me, acted like nothing was wrong, while knowing the truth. The rage inside me was volcanic, but I refused to give them the satisfaction of seeing me explode. I excused myself from the table, left Emily sobbing, and went straight to Daniel's apartment. He opened the door with his usual cocky grin, but the moment he saw my face, it faded. "You already know," he muttered, his eyes shifting away. "Yes," I said, my voice flat. "And you're going to regret every second of it." For a moment, he tried to justify himself, throwing out pathetic excuses. "We didn't mean for it to happen. It just got out of control. I love her." Each word only confirmed what kind of man he was. I didn't need to argue. I didn't need to trade insults. Because deep down, I knew revenge wouldn't come from shouting or fists. It would come from something much more precise, much more permanent. The next days were a blur of cold calculation. I kept my composure around Emily, even pretended to be working late while I was setting things in motion. I started pulling financial records, gathering documents, and digging into Daniel's weaknesses. He owed money, more than I realized, to loan sharks and credit cards. Emily, too, was financially dependent on me, relying on my steady career to support the life we had built. They thought they had taken everything from me, but what they didn't know was how much control I actually had. I wasn't going to fight for Emily's love or Daniel's loyalty. They were already dead to me. Instead, I was going to make them choke on the life they had chosen, one decision at a time. The first move was subtle. I withdrew quietly from the joint wedding account, transferring the funds into a separate one under my name. Emily had no idea. She trusted me to handle the finances. When the florist called her for a deposit, and she discovered the account was empty, her panic was almost satisfying. I acted surprised, telling her I'd look into it, while secretly savoring her unraveling. Meanwhile, I began reaching out to a few contacts I had in Daniel's circle. It wasn't hard to find the right ears. People who were more than eager to hear about his gambling habits and unpaid debts. Word spread quickly, and soon the people he owed were at his doorstep. He called me late one night, his voice frantic, begging for money. For once, I didn't rush to save him. Instead, I told him calmly, "You made your choices, Daniel. Now live with them." Emily tried to keep me close, even after the confession. She said she wanted us to work through it, that the baby didn't have to change everything. But I saw the fear in her eyes when I stopped touching her, stopped calling her mine. She knew I was slipping away, and yet she clung tighter, like a drowning woman reaching for someone she had already betrayed. The real blow came when I exposed them. At a small family gathering, I stood in front of both our parents and dropped the truth. Emily was pregnant, but not with my child. Gasps filled the room, faces turned pale, and Daniel's silence confirmed it all. My mother burst into tears. My father's face turned to stone. Emily begged me not to ruin her reputation, but the damage was already done. I didn't stop there. I contacted her program director at the university, anonymously tipping them off about her personal distractions. Suddenly, her spotless record was questioned. As for Daniel, I made sure the debt collectors knew exactly where he worked, destroying the little stability he had left. By the time the dust settled, the wedding was canceled, my reputation intact, and theirs in ruins. Emily had to move back in with her mother, pregnant and ashamed. Daniel lost his job and spent his nights dodging calls from people he couldn't pay. And me? I walked away clean, with my dignity and finances intact. They thought they had broken me, but in the end, it was them who paid the real price.